Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk with you guys about the dumb mistakes entrepreneurs and business owners make when they first get into business and when they first start growing and scaling their business. And I want to make this clear. I've noticed this in the last two and a half years with lockdown and COVID and the pandemic, that people are now starting to go that route of having a side hustle or a side gig or a small business or some kind of work from home endeavor, or they're starting to build a business of their own from the ground up. And I've noticed that people make certain mistakes. So I want to go over them with you. And I'll make this clear, just so you kind of know a bit of my background and where I come from. I've ran a business for over 6 years now. I was 19 years old when I first got into the financial game and started to build a company from the ground up. Now, 6 years later, we're across Canada, breaking into the United States. We do about 6 figures of business a year. We handle 7 figures in assets. So you can determine for yourself if that makes me qualified to talk about this matter. But what I will say is the mistakes that I'm going to go over, the dumb things that I'm going to go over, are all things that I did in the past when I first was getting started up. And I wish I'd had someone there to kind of coach me and guide me through, because I didn't necessarily have that when I was first getting started. So with that said, let's get into it. The first dumb mistake that people make when they get into business is they don't embrace the suck. They don't embrace the pain. Here's what I mean by that. They think that everything's going to be quick. They think that everything's going to be speedy. They think there's never going to be any pain or any trauma when they're first building a business. Here's the deal. It's not going to be quick. It's not going to be easy. And it's going to be one of the hardest things you ever do. Entrepreneurship, I have a very high level of respect for people that become entrepreneurs and decide to get into business for themselves. Here's why. It's just a different kind of life. You get beat up a little bit more. You take a few more hits, a few more scars. You have more war wounds. You have more people, friends, family members who don't believe in you, that reject you, that kind of ostracize you. There's always kind of a question of if you're going to be able to pay your bills in the early years. If you're going into debt, you take on a high amount of risk. You're not sure if there's even a need for what you do or what you offer. You're not sure if you have the knowledge to keep a business in place. And so most people, they get into business, quite frankly, I'd say 90 to 95% of the new entrepreneurs in the last 2.5 years, most of them do not have realistic expectations for how hard it's going to be, and they lack the fortitude to keep going. So it's important that you understand that. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a grind. Most businesses don't even break even for the first 3 to 5 years. In my case, I got my ass kicked for 5 years when I was building my business. 5 freaking years. As a young entrepreneur, 19 years old, hey, you know what? I made a lot of mistakes along the way, ran into a lot of landmines. I wish I'd done some things differently. In fact, many things differently, but you're going to get beat up. You're going to get beat up. And along the way you learn, you start to develop. But if you throw in the towel right at the beginning, you'll never develop that skill set. You'll never get the experience that's needed to keep moving forward, to actually grow and overcome that. There has to be a period of pain for you to grow your business and ultimately yourself to keep on progressing. Secondly, you're going to be aware of all hats when you're in the beginning stages, when you're in that sucky phase. You have to wear all the hats. I see this happen all the time with business owners, young entrepreneurs, especially artists, but it applies to everybody. They get into what they're doing because of their passion or their field, but they don't want to do the business side of what they do. So for example, you have a business or you have an artist who gets into business. They decide they want to start up their art company, whether it's in the form of cinematography or art, or maybe it's music or digital media or something of that nature. And they get into that for that passion. They try and monetize that passion. But there's a business component of marketing yourself, branding yourself, networking yourself, paperwork, administration that most people are not able to handle. And they don't pay due diligence to that, and they filter out. The other thing I tend to see a lot of is most people underestimate the fact that they're going to have to be the janitor of their business. They're the payroll person in their business. They're their main HR department. They're the payroll department, the recruiting department, the hiring department, the marketing department. You're going to wear every single hat when you first get into business. You have to do it all. And then later on down the road, as you start to increase your income, of course, you can start to outsource and hire on people to fill the roles where you're weak, but you have to keep that in mind. And then finally, you just have to embrace this period of suck with patience. And the way I would phrase it and how I would word it is you should be impatiently patient. You should be moving with a sense of urgency. You should be wanting to go with speed and act with an intensity, and there should be some oomph to everything that you're doing. But at the same time, you have to give yourself the gift of grace, especially in the early years and the beginning years. It can be hard. And one of the things I wish I'd done differently when I first started is I wish that I had been better and more patient when I first began. I wish that I wish I could go back in a time machine and tell 20-year-old Trey, 21-year-old Trey that yes, you can take that beach weekend with your friends. Yes, you can go and hang out with your mom and dad and see your family. No, you don't have to revolve your entire lifestyle around your business. I wish I went back and told myself that, because it would have given me that sense of grace that I can actually, power through this. And I'm not sacrificing everything to keep my business in play. Now, did I move a lot faster than other people because I acted that way? Yes, I did. That's the trade-off. But do I think that I could have found a happier balance? 100%. 100%. Number 2, the second mistake that I see young entrepreneurs and business owners make: you don't market yourself very well. In fact, most businesses have a marketing problem. They have a pipeline problem. They have a volume problem. They have an issue bringing in new clients, new customers. So here's 3 ways I think you can market yourself, especially in today's economy and in today's business landscape. The first is social media. The second is word of mouth and referrals. And the third is good old-fashioned prospecting. And that's my favorite one, and we'll get to it in a second. But let's talk about social media. Here's the thing. 2.5 years ago, in fact, 2.5, 3, even before that, everybody was talking about social media being the new attention currency. The more eyes on you, the more people paying attention to your social media, the better it is. And that is true. That's 100% correct. And I think the biggest mistake that I made personally is I never really hopped on the bandwagon. I didn't really get on the social media wagon. I dabbled here and there. I did some stuff here and there, but I never really attacked it with a full intensity like I am wanting to do and starting to do now. So the good news is you can still build and scale a business and a company without doing that, but I think I'm way further behind than I could have been if I really started to take it seriously and actually move forward. So here's what I think that you should be doing if you're wanting to brand and scale yourself on social media. The good news is if you do it correctly, it's completely free. It's completely free. I think that you should show people 2 sides of yourself. I think that you should show them who you are. So family, occupation, your hobbies. Show me who you are. What are you about? What are you like? What's your energy? Are you a good person or a bad person, right? Would I hang out with you? Would I get a beer with you? Would I invite you over for the family barbecue? What kind of person are you? And then secondly, show me what you actually do. What is your business? What do you offer? What can you bring to the table? What am I able to purchase from you if I was to become a customer? See, the truth is, people don't necessarily care so much nowadays what you know. They care who you are and what you do. And more importantly, especially in today's business era, it's not necessarily about who you know, it's about who knows you. That's a way more important thing. There's an attention economy at play here that we have to keep in mind. Next thing is word of mouth, referrals, that kind of way of drawing attention. Here's the interesting thing. I think people drastically underestimate the importance of word of mouth referrals and people talking about your business at a community level. Before we hopped into social media and before we got all crazy with it, that was the main way that people got their name out there. That's how I built my business and my company from the ground up. I did it all solely off word of mouth and talking to people. And it's interesting because we built that way. Then we went into COVID and the lockdown and the pandemic, and then we had to start getting into social media to brand ourselves and market ourselves. And I think the people that really understood social media in the last 2.5 years took off. But here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to have 3 classes of people in the next, maybe 5-10 years. You're going to have the people that are strong, old school word of mouth referral. They brand themselves at the community level. They market themselves at the community level. You're going to have the groups of people that are heavy on social media. They have a strong virtual presence. That's how they get their name out there. That's how they market themselves. And then you're going to have a third class of people, which is the people that are able to not only have a strong brand at the community level, word of mouth marketing, referrals, getting their name out there, people speak well of them, but they also have a strong social media presence that's not only just at the community level, but national or international or even worldwide. That's what I think is really going to be the separating factor. That third group, if they manage to wrap their head around that, I think they're going to take off completely, which is what I'm trying to do right now. So as I'm telling you to it, it's on my mind. It's something I'm working on because I think it's important. I think it's very, very serious. And especially now more so than ever, I don't think word of mouth referrals can be understated. Here's why. Because when we first got into the last 2.5 years with the lockdown and the pandemic, guess what happened? Everybody started marketing themselves on social media, and now it's overly inundated, quite frankly, with a bunch of BS businesses and Forex traders and crypto guys and some scams here and there. And now people don't necessarily trust the people approaching them online anymore. And so your ability to brand and market at the community level, face-to-face, person-to-person, is so, so important. People don't always necessarily do business with a company or with a person just based off a Google review. They're going to do it based off what their friend says or their buddy says. And then finally, it's prospecting. Here's what prospecting means. It means, and this is going to sound crazy, but bear with me. It means you go out there and you talk to people. I know, it's bonkers, it's mental, what a crazy idea. Nobody ever does it anymore. You want to know something? That was what I did in my early stages. You want to know a funny story? Here's how I built and branded myself in the early years as a 20-year-old kid in financial services. Guess what I was doing? I talked to everybody. I lived in an apartment condo in my original city in Regina, Saskatchewan. And I would go and knock on doors. I'd be like, doom, 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 doom. I'd knock on their door. They'd open up. They'd be like, hello. I don't know why I did that voice, but they'd be like, hello. I'd be like, hey, you don't know me. My name is Trey. I'm your neighbor from 509. Hey, I'm expanding my business right now. I'm looking to get in front of some good people. I don't know if it's a fit for you, but I really love your opinion. And by the way, you're going to get a bunch of great info. And there's free cookies. Yes, I bribed him with free cookies. I was bribing everybody with free cookies and baked goods. And by the way, your success rate when you bribe them with free cookies goes way up, way higher. Free cookies, boom. My conversion, way higher. That's why I'm happy lockdown ended. I was like pulling out the baked goods. I was like, all right, time for round 2. I'm just kidding. Now, I don't necessarily recommend you do it that way. I think the day of like door knocking is probably dead and buried, and probably should be. I don't recommend doing it that way. But what I'm trying to do is instill into you the mindset of this is what you have to do. Talk to people, get in front of people, get your name out there, start getting in front of people. Most people don't stay in business because they don't get their name out there. They don't talk to people. The more people that know you, the more money you make. Simple as that. It is as simple as that. So how many people know you? How many people are you talking to? Are you getting out there? Are you getting in front of other people? If you don't market and brand yourself, you'll be gone in 2 years, if you even make it that long. Point number 3, reinvest into your business. Now, this is a mistake I see a lot of people make, and I made it myself many, many, many times. And in fact, I was so bad for it. When I first started making money, I don't think I was prepared for that kind of income. We didn't grow up like dirt poor, but we were never a wealthy family by any stretch when I grew up as a kid. And then, my career background prior to that was like, I got my first job. I was 13. I was pumping gas at the Mazang Fuels, which is a gas station in Canada and in Saskatchewan, which is part of Petro-Canada. And then after that, when I moved to Regina for university, I decided, hey, I'm going to go work at Value Village. So like, minimum wage to minimum wage. And then after that, my first big kid job was I worked government of Canada as a public servant, making $35,000 a year after tax, right? So I was never used to making good money. And so when I finally started to make real income with my business, right, making $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month, well, I was a young kid. I blew it all. I would go and blow it on suits, or I'd party hard, right? I'm just being honest with you. I was a 20-year-old kid making $6,000 a month. Of course I went and partied hard. That's what I did. And that was the biggest mistake I have ever made in my business. I wish I could go back. If I could change one thing, well, there'd be many things, but if I could change one thing, that'd be one of them. I wouldn't blow my cash. I wouldn't think that this is money that I had. Reason for that is I think you should have two separate accounts. You should have your personal income account, which is your money. That's how you pay your bills, put food on the table, you go and travel or do whatever you want to do, right? That's your personal income. But then I would have a business account. And that's where I would put the income from my business in there that I would reinvest back into my business, right? At the very beginning, at the start of you building your company and your business, truth be told, you guys, you're probably doing it part-time. You have a job on a full-time job or a part-time job, and you're building a business on the side. Use the income from your job to actually keep yourself afloat and alive, and then use your business income to reinvest back into your business. Now, what should you be reinvesting into? I would reinvest into things primarily that can grow and scale your business, hopefully at low cost. So what does that look like? Again, lots of social media, lots of branding, things that can add more eyeballs onto what you do. Can they generate leads, volume, sales, more customers, thus increasing profit, thus increasing your take home? I would also start to outsource and hire people that can do what you are bad at better than you. So for instance, that may be a social media guy that can handle your content and brand it for you and get it out there. I would 100% hire an assistant. Most people do not hire an assistant, and it keeps them small. Here's what I mean by that. If you're an entrepreneur and you're getting into business, truth be told, you're probably like the rest of us in that you were a bad student in high school, which I was. You're not very detail oriented, which I'm not. You're not very good with paperwork or structure, which I'm not. And you're probably more of an idea guy, a people guy, a vision guy, right? You're the big concept guy, the big thinker guy. And that's why you got into business, because you wanted to work for yourself and you didn't want to be told what to do, and you had an idea and a dream and you're chasing it. Most of us suck at paperwork and administration. Hire an assistant to do it for you. Number one, if you don't, paperwork, admin, the dark side of business, it'll drain you, it'll suck the life out of you. But number two, it's gonna take all your time and it's costing you money. An assistant does not cost you money. An assistant is there to make you money. So if you don't get one, you're just delineating time to paperwork that doesn't necessarily pay you, instead of putting your skills and your talents to things that can and will, right? Let's get real. Elon Musk at Tesla is not, in the mailing room every day filling out the pay slips. I just don't see that happening. He has people for that. You should have people for the areas that you're not good at or need improvement on, so you can work on your strengths while they're covering your weaknesses. Other things that I would take a look at too is start to invest in culture, right? Are you giving people an environment that they actually want to work in? Do people show up to your place of business proud to be there? Are they happy to be there? Are they working towards something? Or is it just another day? They clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out. You can invest into culture. You can invest into branding. You can invest into a team environment. You can put money into these things. Barbecues, trips, recognition, little things that make people feel like they're a part of something and they should be happy and proud to be a part of your company and your business. Because otherwise, I hate to break it to you, if you don't have that, they're going to go find the competitor down the street that's willing to pay them more, regardless of whether that environment is better or not. Because if there's no environment, the people will perish, right? So, point number 4, for the love of God. Point number 4, hire a good accountant. This cannot be stated enough. Most people, especially beginning entrepreneurs, beginning business owners, especially us young guys, we suck at taxes. We're not good at them. We're terrible at them. And by the way, I don't ever want to be good at them. That's why I hire somebody to do it, right? That's why you hire somebody to do that stuff for you. But here's the deal. There is a difference between the taxes and accounting and income you make as an employee versus what you're earning as a self-employed person. And if you don't understand how they work, and more importantly, have someone in your corner as an accountant that can handle that for you, you are opening yourself up to huge blind spots. Do not F around with your taxes. I know so many good people, good, hardworking, honest, charismatic, caring people with high levels of integrity that ran a great business that are now no longer here because they got taken out by taxes. They monkeyed around. They didn't know what they were doing, and they paid a price. So don't fall victim to that. Hire a good accountant. Have someone who knows how this stuff works. Have someone who understands what self-employed income and taxes look like. They understand your business, how it works, how it operates. They know you, because if the more they know about you and your business and how it works, the better they're able to structure your accounting come tax time to get you not only the best possible returns, but you're not landing in hot water with the CRA or the IRS, and then you're getting audited. And trust me, you just don't want to go through any of that stuff. So if you have someone who's very good at it, hire them. Make sure you have that in your corner. Which brings me to my final point. Point number 5. Point number 5. Do it right the first time. Do it right the first time. You see, here's the deal. I hear this all the time on social media. I know certain entrepreneurs and Instagram personalities say this where, if you're young or really at any age, you have all this time to just work at your business, and you have all this time, and be patient and don't stress. And to a degree that is true. To a degree it's true. I know I said earlier, hey, I would have given myself more time to enjoy life. But in tandem with that, you should be running and acting like you have no time. Because you might not have an opportunity to build it back a second time. You might only have enough time to do it the first time. What happens if your business goes belly up and you file for bankruptcy and you gotta rebuild from scratch? And then all of a sudden you walk into a doctor's office and they diagnose you. They find a lump on your chest, right? And it's stage 4. What happens if you're on the way to work one day and you fall in a horrible accident and you either don't walk away from it at all, or something happens to you where your health takes you out, or family takes you out, or finances take you out? Look, we don't know how much time we have. We don't know how much time we have. And so I stress this to everybody. We're all on this bus ride of life, and you have zero idea. I have zero idea when at some point my ticket's going to get checked. It's going to get punched. And I got to get off the bus ride of life. I don't know when it's coming. It could be tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be a year from now. It could be 10 years from now. It could be 50 years from now. It could be before I even leave this studio. Who knows? Who knows? And if that's true for me, the same is true for you. You only have enough time to do this right. I see so many people, they play casual. They don't get in the game. They lack an intensity. They move so slow. They cut corners, which means it's going to take them more time to build back better. They build their business off talent, not off system. And so they're constantly commanded by it and dominated by it, and they stay small. Don't be that guy. You might only have enough time to do this thing right the first time. You might not get a second swing at bat. You might not get a third, a fourth, or a fifth. You might get one shot. Now, you're probably you'll luck out and you'll be lucky and that you'll have time. But what about your family? What about your loved ones? What about the people you care about? What if they don't get more time? See, it's not just about us. It's about the people we care about. There has to be a reason we build the business. There has to be a reason we go through all of this. It's not just about having money in the bank account. It's about what you do with the money in the bank account. And if that's gone, if the time is up, man, doesn't matter how many zeros you have in that checking account. Can't buy you back another minute. Can't buy back another minute for anyone else. Time is that resource that just keeps marching on every second. So, with all that said, these are some tips, tricks, and strategies to help avoid common mistakes that I see many young entrepreneurs, I shouldn't even say young, I mean young in the game of entrepreneurship, young in the game of business, not young in age, who are coming into this arena and into this game, trying to play at this life. And I hope you guys make it. I wish the best for all of you. I'm rooting for you. That's why I'm doing this stuff. But not all of you will. But if this video can help at least one of you make it, then I've done my job. So I hope this helps some of you. I hope you guys get out there and you crush it and you get after it, because if one of us wins, we all win. And by making one person better, we can make all of us better. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait to see you for the next one. Take care.